You're totally in.
Am I in?
Yeah. Yeah, we need to move over. No, not that way. The other way. And then let me scoot up just a little bit so we're not so off, you know?
Are you in the front?
Break it down. Make it sound. Ooh, make it sound. 5 a.m.
What's up, y'all? This is Vinny, aka Hugo Sauce, and I'm here with
your girl Quinn on the ground. And what are we watching? It's Out the Box Podcast. Alright. Yo.
What's going on? Talk to me.
There's a few topics that, drew my attention this week. I usually don't do like the gossip stuff, but
I ain't want to gossip, so you ain't heard that from me.
Just discuss on whatever's been trending this week. And two of the topics that we came across that we both agreed to discuss was T.I. and Jacquees.
And Jacquees. These are both two people that are proclaimed kings. T.I. the king of the South.
Yes, and now we have a new king of R&B.
Well, is he the king?
I'm not sure. Like what he's doing is pretty much saying that within a certain designated period of time, like right now, I guess as a reason, 2018, whoever's come up now or whatever, he is
the king of that.
The king of that. I guess 2017 when Bryson and whatever them dropped. From then, he's saying that he's hurting them. But to me, I think it's just all publicity. I just think it's just like a ploy. He kind of just made a statement, and certain people just got in their feelings. It was like, yo, is he really like dissing or whatever? And then other people like, oh, that was brilliant because you got everybody's eyes on you.
So is it safe to say that he might be clout chasing?
It is definitely. It's a form of clout chasing, but I think he's low-key backing it up. I heard some of the album and I was really impressed.
So here's my thing.
Yeah.
I listened to the King of R&B album too, not thoroughly.
Yeah.
But yes, he has a dope project out right now, so if you haven't heard it, go check it out. But to me, this is kind of like his first
project.
Yeah, dope project. Like, what made him the king prior to him proclaiming himself to be king?
I think he's just talking about how he sings vocally. We're in a different era right now. People don't really sing like singers are now singing like rappers. Rappers are attempting to sing. So like we're not really getting the vocal gymnastics or like the skills that a lot of R&B singers are supposed to have. So like he's one of the few male singers that I can name off the top that are like actually doing real authentic R&B music and are actually singing and like paying homage in a way to a lot of the former greats that influenced them.
So I guess what you're saying and what he's saying is that he has that classic R&B feel, that vintage R&B feel that's not so much out there in the game.
That's well needed, you know. It's like that soul, that love-making music. Like nowadays, when people sing in R&B, like they just getting straight to it. They're swearing in the records now. It's like completely different. So like he's just really taking a little bit of what was done before and adding, new elements of now into it. So it's not so like ooh. But like what he was doing before, he had a record that I really loved. I forgot the name of it. I think it's like I Know You Wanna, or I don't know if that's the name of it, but.
But that's the thing, like Jacquees is really known for singing over other people's records. Like
but that was an original song though. That was an original song.
Right.
And I can't lie, I played that joint over and over again.
Yeah, listen.
I did a lot of things to that song.
Okay.
I can't lie. Like that record was on repeat. I'm gonna play it for y'all right now.
I know you wanna love, but I just wanna fuck.
Jacquees does have a lot of bangers. I'm not gonna lie, when he first signed to Cash Money, I didn't know what to think. He kind of looked like Wayne,
right.
The hair and the dress code and the stature, so I felt like, okay, he was heavily influenced by Wayne. But I had never seen an R&B artist, quote unquote R&B artist, with the exception of like, Drizzy, who was like hip hop and R&B, really bust from Cash Money. So I was reluctant to see. I'm like, yo, is this guy gonna last? Like, he's Rich Gang, is he gonna last? But it seems like he survived the test of time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a risky decision to kind of sign with like a hip hop or like rap label. But you know what? Like I said, the two genres are blending.
Yeah.
So like, and it's even his approach to say that he's the king of R&B. The last person that did that was Cisco. And
Cisco called himself the king of R&B?
Yeah, like he challenged Usher on 106 in Park.
Yeah, he's a fool for that.
And I was just like, I just didn't know. For me personally, like R&B singers taking on some of like rappers' behaviors, it kind of like, it doesn't gel well with me. I'm kind of like, you guys are supposed to be about sensitivity. You're not supposed to be running around with your masculine charm, and you know, the only thing you're supposed to be ripping off is your shirt. You're not supposed to be doing nothing too crazy. Like, so when I see like,
but you know what though, a lot of people have the misconception that because dudes do R&B, they're soft, and they're not.
But they're not.
A lot of these dudes just have that vocal capability to sing. So like, what a rapper might wanna, you know, exemplify or profess themselves as to be like, you know, macho. Like, let's think about Jagged Edge. They had like that hood swag.
That is true.
Jodeci.
That is true. I'm not, but I'm saying that I totally agree. But they had the look. They carried on that stuff, but they weren't like walking around saying like, yo, and whatever, I'm the king of this. Like, that was like, no one's walking around saying they're the best.
Exactly. So this kind of goes back to my I would say my issue with Jacquees.
Okay. Go ahead.
So he recently, within I think the last year or so, he ran up on Key Sweat.
Hey Key, I got a question for you, man, real quick. So you are the king. Or you were originally the king. No, you were originally the king. So are you passing down the torch?
This the king from back then. I'm the king for right now. This Key Sweat, Big Sweat. But it's Big Queen. Big Queen.
Hold on. I'm still getting that bag. I don't know what
he getting a bag, but 16 to 25 is my generation. I'm the king.
Will you pass it? Are you willing to pass the torch?
Ain't no torch to pass. Man, cut the camera off.
And then they did another interview with Big Tigger, and he apologized.
Oh, okay.
But then Key Sweat made known, he's like, listen man, growing up, Marvin Gaye, Teddy Pendergrass, Al Green, all of these greats, they've never ever had to make a statement like that to say they're the king of anything. They were just doing their thing. And Jacquees' point was that there was no internet. Had there been an internet, niggas would be talking.
I never heard Marvin Gaye, Luther Vandross, Teddy Pendergrass, or nobody talking about who was the king.
They ain't had an internet.
Crazy. That's what he's saying. He's like, niggas would be talking crazy had there been an internet.
Wow, really?
That's what that was his whole point. But you know, I could see that Key Sweat was taken back. He was like, yo, you know what? I'm just gonna stop talking. And he's like, look, I sold 30 million records. I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, everyone has their own way of getting where they need to go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're in a different era right now. I mean, weren't we just watching Lil' Kim's baby father crying on?
How do you feel about that? I thought that was hilarious, man.
I don't know if it was genuine. That's my problem.
So like, tears look real.
The tears look real, and like that song "Cry" by Jay-Z is an emotional song.
Yeah, you don't get a nigga back like that.
Like, oh my gosh. But like, I was just like, for me, I was kind of like 50-50 because I'm like, who films that and who puts it on their feed?
Yeah.
But then again, like, I think we're in an era of transparency. A lot of people are either they're just being themselves naturally on camera. They're not really putting their guards up or putting up these blinders in order to censor, just putting those things up. But I don't know if it was genuine. But it could be genuine. That's the mother of his daughter.
Yeah, but I mean, if it was genuine, don't you think he'd be hitting her on the phone or hitting her direct?
Maybe he did.
And then he decided to like post it on the gram.
Yeah, maybe he's been hitting her up. But the thing is though, like, I don't know. Like, I can't speak on that because I'm like, that's a lot for a man to sit on a camera and just start bawling for his ex. Like,
yeah, he was like, he was trolling. In my opinion, he was trolling. He's like, yo, listen, man, I don't care who you with. Like, you over there in your relationship.
But she's having a good time. She looks happy, and you know, she responded in her own way.
What'd she say?
She didn't say anything. She just posted, like, you know, like showing that she's happy. You know what I mean? So it's like she's clearly moved on.
But if she was that happy, would she have to post it, or would she just be happy?
Man, look, Kim's a loyal ass chick, man. She's a down ass chick. I don't know her, but she's a down ass chick.
And she is.
So if she moved on, something must have happened. Why she? Like, so
let's keep it on it. Like, nobody even really knew who Kim's baby dad was before he did that.
Yeah, so, and isn't he an artist too?
He's probably gonna be an artist now.
Okay, I'd be an artist. I'd have like a whole Hot 16 like today. I'm dropping right now.
Yeah, he probably got a dish record in the stash for her.
Shoot, I mean, I would take the whole Drake route and just be super like,
oh my god,
like talk about relationships and I expose my emotions.
That's crazy.
Why not?
That's crazy.
Anyway, next topic. So now we're gonna talk about T.I. So T.I. went on a podcast. I believe one of the podcast people, Miguel's wife. I believe she's one of the contributors to the podcast.
I want to spit up this gum. I feel like it just doesn't look good on camera.
All right, go on, spit it out. I'm gonna spit out this gum. That was me the other day.
Yeah, go ahead, talk about it.
Yeah, so you know, he went on the podcast and he was like, okay, they're talking about you know, his daughters. I'm gonna put the clip up, but pretty much.
Which, by the way, your daughters are so beautiful.
So beautiful.
So,
Thank you so much.
I'm sure you have your hands full.
And like the other one's 18, so she definitely knows about sex.
See,
but I'm
just
just
it's Deja, right? She's 18,
yes,
right?
Deja's 18, just graduated high school now, and she's attending her first year of college, figuring it out for herself. And yes, not only have we had the conversation, we have yearly trips to the gynecologist to check her hymen.
Oh, okay.
I'm done with you right now. So, you know,
do you go with her?
She's a prisoner. Yes, I go with her.
Somebody check on Deja.
I go with her.
She's a prisoner.
So let me tell you, right? So this is one time we go. I think this might have been after her 16th birthday, and this is what we do. Like, you know, right after the birthday, we celebrate. And,
we go and check her hymen after.
And then,
what the fuck?
You know, usually like the day after the party, she's enjoying her gifts. I put a sticky note on the door. Gyno. Tomorrow, 9:30.
Oh, this is great.
And so look, right? So we'll go. You know what I mean? We'll go and we'll sit down, and then the doctor will come and talk. And, you know, the doctor's maintaining a high level of professionalism. He's like, well, you know, sir, I have to, you know, in order for me to share information, I say, Deja, they want you to sign this. They want you to sign this
right now. I need to know if your hymen's still there.
So we can share information. Is there anything that you would not want me to know? Oh, okay. See, Doc, ain't no problem.
The gynecologist.
They go to gynecologist every year
since
she was to check her hymen, and I'm just like, what? And like he put this publicly for people to hear, and I'm sure she is freaking mortified. What do you feel about this? You have your own.
So she went to, I think, Twitter, and she was defending her father, T.I. I'm not exactly sure what she said, but at that time and point, I don't think she wants to hear anybody tear her father.
Well, they can't. That's her dad, right?
So I really want to know what you feel, but I think I'm gonna state what I think at first. So he said that he was checking whether or not her hymen was broken. Right now, there's many different ways you can break your hymen. Riding a bike, riding a horse, or just being physically active in sports. Right? T.I. made it quite apparent that his daughter is not an athlete of any way, shape, or form. So that's virtually impossible. Two things. First things first. A couple things actually. Maybe 3-4 things. A few things. First things first. If that's something that is happening within his household, amongst his family, and in the privacy of a doctor himself and his daughter, I personally don't feel like that's information that should be shared to the public.
Okay.
Now, what we're doing here out the box, this is like a form of journalism, so to speak. But I am a father, you're a parent as well too. And the second thing, T.I., for someone who's extremely intellectual.
He's an intelligent person.
Street savvy too. You know about his past history and whatnot. The self-proclaimed king of the South as well. I think a man of his stature should definitely go about dealing with his daughter a little bit differently. But that's my opinion.
Like in what way though? Like dealing with her in what way?
Establishing that bond, establishing that trust. Not to say that he doesn't, but being the let's say the alpha male of the household or the family, you have to kind of like give and take. Allow your children to be able to come to you and speak to you, and not feel pressure to say, hey, like, if you don't tell me this, then it's, you know,
there's a consequence.
Because like, let's say he goes there and doc's like, well, you know what, the hymen's broken, she's been sexually active. What are you gonna do?
Well, the first and foremost,
at that point, it's already like, what are you gonna do?
Well, the thing is, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's a situation where you're like promoting a honor or purity culture, like, you know, in cultures, other parts of the world, like, girls will get killed for stuff like this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to make it seem so like dark and stuff, but girls are getting killed for stuff like this. So it's like,
for what?
For not being virgins, or like even just being raped and being violated for things that they have no control over. The fact that your hymen broke, and your hymen is not an indication if you're a virgin or not. But my whole thing now is, what doctor
is doing this? Yeah,
like, what doctor allowed for this to happen? And the thing is too, she's not no baby. She's 18.
She's 18.
She's a baby compared to me, but she's not a baby. So like, the fact that, you know, whatever, I guess, you know, intimidation she may be feeling to respond to give that information willingly, it's not cool. Like, even the tactics, he's like, you know, he sat down and was like, everything to tell me, or like, is there anything to hide, or oh well, then she has no problem sharing this information with me. And it's like, that's not a way to get that kind of information from somebody. You would want them to come forthcoming and willing, and just say, or like if they have a concern or whatever, you want them to be able to have those conversations with you without worrying about, you know, any kind of consequence, right?
So there was a meme I seen on social media, and it was something along the lines of, oh shit, like, if my dad finds this out, he's gonna kill me. And then the response was like, I don't want my child or my daughter to say that. They would be like, prefer if their kid said, oh shit, like, I gotta tell my dad. Right? So instead of like automatically turning to fear of like what your parents or elders might say, but actually feeling more compelled to open up and share with them and be honest with them, is the response that you do want. Now, I do have to give him the respect of being his own man, running his household the way he sees accordingly, and you can't really interfere with stuff like that, right?
No, I agree, but we're just looking at from a looking in sort of thing. Like, we're looking from an outside perspective. So like, my whole other thing though is, another issue came up, is potentially a similar topic came up with his 15-year-old son.
Ooh.
Right? And his son was like, yeah, I've been getting down. And he was just like, okay, well. You know? So
gender restrictions at that point.
Yeah, like, there's a gender bias. And you know, it's like, women are getting ashamed or shamed for participating in activities that boys get praised for. Mind you, his son is younger than her.
So he's jumping off the porch early. It's acceptable. It's okay. But then you have to think about it from a perspective like, he's with somebody's daughter. So who's to say like that's right either? Because it's like, are you gonna actively tell your boys like, yo, you know what, you should wait until a woman's young ladies of a certain age until she feels comfortable? This is something that you should like maybe discuss with your parents before you, like, is he doing the same thing? So at that point it becomes bias. You're right.
Yeah, the problem is, people are, when it comes to boys, they're okay with boys messing with somebody else's daughter, but they're not okay with somebody messing with their daughter. And the reality is, it's a two-way street. So someone's getting messed with at the end of the day. And the reality is, teenagers do stuff. That's what they do. You know what I mean? But you need to like, you need to give them the tools and the information so that they do things correctly. Because at the end of the day, they are going to make decisions with you, or you there or not there. You could sit down there and say, you could go to those cool ass parents like, you know what, my kids smoke weed in my house, my kids drink whatever they want to in front of me. You could do all that stuff, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do. And you can use intimidation, or you cannot, but it's going to break your heart one day. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, like, obviously as a parent, you want to prolong these things for as long as possible. You want to say like, wait till marriage. You want to like give them all this information, even if you didn't necessarily do that yourself, right? But you do want to give them the freedom to make their own choices and their own decisions. You just want to feel good that you prep them mentally and you know, even physically, letting them know like the diseases and giving them the awareness of protection.
And babies and like, you know, like it's weird, like a girl go out there and go have sex, and all of a sudden it's like she comes home with the baby, big burden, big problem, big whatever. In some cultures, a guy can go there and have babies with a bunch of women, and they're just like celebrated. And it's like, it's not fair. It's not fair.
It's like monogamous, right?
Yeah.
So tell me something though. If you're on the opposite end as a mother and father your child saying, you know what, you're going to the gynecologist, she's 16, 17, 18, are you standing by and saying?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because I'm just going to put myself in her shoes. And I would be like, no, that's not cool. You shouldn't be doing that. If anything, as a woman, I would probably feel more comfortable as a woman. If that were my stance, Then
you would go mother-daughter.
Yeah, and I'd want her to tell me because of her own willingness. Not because I'm like, have a shotgun to her head. Like,
even that could have been a lot more well played if he was like, you know what, Tiny, I want you to go with our daughter, go to the gynecologist and find out what's going on. And he doesn't necessarily have to even be a part of the conversation, but he's aware of what's going on.
I hear to a certain degree, but again, no matter what,
spying,
a hymen is not an indication of sexual activity. In fact, it changes. Sometimes it'll be one way when you're born, and then all of a sudden it changes, it morphs through a time period of time. So you will just not know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you cannot use it as the litmus test of like virginity.
Right. So for me personally,
and the doctor, whoever's doing that, you just taking their freaking money and you foul. You foul for that.
It's T.I. the king of the South, man. And I think even his daughter knows, like, listen, man, she ain't trying to fuck up. Part of my friend, she ain't trying to mess up her allowance, her budget, you know what I'm saying? Right now.
But why does it have to be that way?
But like her dad is, you know, the alpha male of the household. So she's like, you know what, she's gonna be compliant. She's like, yo, listen.
But the brother is out there doing his own thing, and no, like, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm not into that misogyny.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. It's not something that I would personally do. It's not something that I would advocate or recommend for anybody to do. Like I said, a man of his stature, who's incredibly intelligent, who's been very outspoken in matters of, like, you know, when Gucci was, you know, violating, disrespecting with the blackface. Always standing up for the community and for hip hop as a whole.
Yeah, he has a lot of positive qualities to him. I just think that, you know, this for me is not like an overstating blanket in terms of how I perceive him.
No.
That's one thing I will say. Like, he does a lot of great too. But I just wish he never said that. I wish he kept that to himself. Nobody needed to hear that, because like, homegirl's embarrassed. Homegirl's embarrassed, bro.
Like, no matter what you say, her whole business is up there.
Yes.
And she may not have wanted the whole world to, because it even got to the point when, you know, the ladies on the podcast were like, you know, there are men that will actually pay for a woman's virginity, and he's like,
yes,
he's like, he's like,
yes. But did you hear about the lady that there was actually a young, she was not that young, but she was of age and she was a virgin, and someone paid her like at least something million to get
How do you feel about that? Is that prostitution?
Of course it is, but you know what though?
Yeah.
Get it how you live. I can't be mad. I can't be mad at someone who's a consenting adult doing what she wants to do with her body. Someone's willing to pay for it and she's willing to do that. That's your business.
So go get that $1 million.
Yeah. Shoot. Yo, y'all need to tell us what the hell y'all think about this topic.
Tell me what you think.
And if you have any records on the Jacquees album that you love, the King of R&B album, let us know. Shout out to TK Kravitz and shout out to Tory Lanez and everyone else that was on there. And
the first introduction track is actually Jacquees and T.I. And I'm not gonna lie.
So Atlanta.
Yeah, the record is knocking too. It's a dope collab. So these guys are like hot right now. You know what I'm saying? They're trending right now. So I'm sure that's gonna translate into some sort of sales for them.
I'm sure it will. Keep streaming.
Keep streaming. Who else dropped a new project? Who else you bought? Jacquees dropped the project.
Who else dropped? I don't know. Is there anyone else?
Tory dropped that Jerry Springer track.
Yeah, he did, with the I'm Sprung sort of.
Yeah. With featuring T-Pain.
The video.
Lit.
Love it.
Fire. Chicks Tape 5 is dropping this month.
Yes, I'm here for all of it. Tory's been working.
Yeah, he's been working. I think Chicks Tape is just like a series that people love because it delves back into the 90s hip hop and R&B. He's got Ashanti on the cover. And she's still looking fire.
Ashanti don't age.
You know what I'm saying?
She not age. Anyway.
You know the vibes.
Thanks for watching Out the Box Blackcast.
Alright, and Dave East got a project too, Survival. That's dope. Check it out.
I will. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
I got tats gas all on my belly. I be feeling like I know who the fuck I be flexing like a wrestler. Charged up like a Tesla. Switching out my hoes. I dump Siri for Alexa. Look.